Yeah, Hunter. Welcome to Fayetteville. You've been here a little bit now.
Yes, sir.
As an older guy, the coaches that talk about you know, kind of have stepped into a leadership role working with some of the young guys, like particularly like you get a guy like Danny Beal who's got a lot of talent, but maybe doesn't know everything to do. Yeah. And they said you know pretty much everything on defense, where to put everybody.
Yeah, just taking the time to learn the defense, having a little familiarity with it. Back at Alabama my first year, so it's good to have that kind of remembrance of the defense that we have, and then even the young guys that we do have, all the talent in the world, they're also young. So it takes time. It took time for me as well. So I enjoy helping them out. Putting them in the right position.
How's your career arc helped you as a player, starting off at Alabama, playing at Virginia, having a lot of success there last year, and now at Fayetteville?
It's helped a lot. Seeing different places, being around a bunch of different people, different teammates, different coaches, taking everything that I've learned from all the staffs and players that I've been around and just putting it all together. It's definitely been a blessing. I still keep in contact with some of my coaches, some of my players that I played with, and I lean back on them when I need advice. And then even the coaches that we have here, who have been great, Coach Cotton, Coach Wilk, even Coach Roberts with the defense. It's all been one big circle. I didn't expect my career to go like this, but everything happens for a reason. God's plan, and so I wouldn't ask for anything else.
Quincy, what's been, I guess, the biggest difference? Obviously, you guys are, more of a hybrid odd front now, but what's been the biggest difference from last year's defensive line to this year's? Is it depth?
Yeah. I feel like we got more guys who I can, rely on. Not saying, the guys who we didn't have in the room last year weren't enough, but I think, like you said, it was more like the depth aspect, and we got more guys who could, more diverse and who could play it all.
Saturday, can you talk about it? It seems like the defense won, so to speak. How would you characterize how you guys played Saturday?
Relentless. I know, like, for us, our mentality is, take the ball. Offense is own the ball and defense is take the ball. So, the same amount of ability that they have as a right to own the ball, we got the same ability, take the ball. So I look at it like that, and we look at it like that.
What would you take?
I would say on Thursday, we had a good 17 periods of practice, and then the last half got our butt whooped, As defense, we came together and we were like, we cannot let this happen, we're better than this. We know we're much capable of more. So came together Saturday morning, came in with a mindset that, we're not going to let that happen. We got the job done and then some. It was good, good seeing everyone fly around to the ball and make a bunch of plays.
We've heard about the goal line stand, the one play inside the one. Were you guys both on the field for that?
No, I wasn't.
I was on the field, yes, sir.
So how did you see the play development? Apparently, House came in and cleaned up after. How did it go?
Yeah, so we saw the formation. It was a divided set, so the tight end was away from the running back. Then he ended up moving the running back over to the same side as the tight end. So when we see that formation, we're alerting down the down zone,
everything
coming down to downhill, literally. So once we called it out on the defense, we knew it was coming. Guys like K-House play relentless. Day was on that side where the ball tackled as well. They were able to make a big play for us. It's huge.
You talked about depth, but specifically, who at end has been impressing you? Who all you think can factor in this year?
I think everybody has the ability to play. It's just the fact that, how fast can they pick it up, you feel what I'm saying? And also, like, Hunter could tell you, like, the SEC isn't, it's not an easy conference. So you really just got to be gritty, down there. And you can't be just wheeling around, like, to just get shoved around. You just got to have your nose down, get ready to play hard-nosed football.
I want to ask y'all both about Okie. What have you seen from David so far?
For me personally, he's fast. He's very powerful at the point of attack. Him playing at that zero nose right now, he's a smaller guy, but he uses his leverage to, defeat blocks, plays great on double teams, causing havoc in the backfield. I'm excited to play with him this year, see what he's going to do this year for us to help us win.
Yeah, so all last year, he couldn't get on the field very much. What did you think of him?
That's my guy, man. Oki has a different mindset this year. He knows that, a lot of pressure is on him, knowing that he didn't, have the ability to play last year. So he's stepping up to the plate. Again, he's another leader of D-line and, very twitchy, a guy who can make plays with his twitchiness. So I'm expecting big things from him. He's, living up to the standard and he, owning up to his standard as well.
Quincy, what stood out among the two new defensive line coaches, Coach Cotton and Coach Wilkerson? How have you gelled with them? What's it like getting used to them, getting to know them right now?
They're my guys. I know they be on me a lot because they know the potential that I have going on to next year and the draft and all that stuff. So my standard is, very high for them. They football gurus. They take the time to study their opponents and teach us things that we may not know. Especially me, like I definitely learned a lot since both of them have been in office, and they're young. They also know how to have fun too. So recruits to anybody out there who may be looking at this school. I feel like a big thing is having a personal relationship with coaches and knowing how to have fun, as well as doing what you're able to do, your job on the field. So I think that plays a big factor as well for me and my relationship with them.
You mentioned the NFL draft. I mean, I know winning at Arkansas is the primary focus, but what's next for your development? What are you focused on maybe this offseason to kind of take your game to the next level?
Like you said, like I'm just like keeping my feet like where I'm grounded at. I'm not too much looking forward to what's later on down the line, because that's the future. I'm worried about now. So really just taking every day with a grain of salt, learning for what I need to know later, and mainly focus on about these guys and how can we develop as a unit to win this year.
What stood out about the guy to your right, Hunter? What have you seen from him since he arrived on campus?
His leadership. I think as a D line, anybody has the ability to lead. For me, for example, I'm not as vocal, but I just try to show up and work every day. But when I tend to fall off, he there to pick me up as well as other people. But great football player, he got a great head on his shoulders, very wise. So this is my guy, and like I said, this is my guy. So yeah.
Hunter, kind of last year you go to Virginia and they weren't picked high in the ACC, and y'all end up playing for a conference championship. Does it feel maybe some similar things here at Arkansas, where you got a point to prove here with a new team? And what do you remember about that Virginia experience and how you guys maybe were able to have a surprising year over there?
Absolutely. I would say, Coach Elliott, he kind of ingrained in us over there, be player-led, don't listen to the outside noise. And then over that entire summer, I just remember us working so hard. And then I think we all, as a team last year, kind of fell back onto that. We worked so hard that we're not going to let anyone outwork us. And I feel like we can do the same here. A lot of people, are thinking about the past and last year with this team. But, it's a clean slate. Coach Silverfield always talks about clean slate. And that's what we're here to do as well, show everyone else that, it's not the same tenure that was last year, coming to prove people wrong and, just win some games, honestly, yeah.
You didn't have any shortage of options when you were in the portal. I mean, what was it about Arkansas that brought you here?
I would say Coach Silverfield, honestly, coming, I went on a visit the day the portal opened, and then I came here the next day, and I had places scheduled afterwards, but Silverfield, Coach Cotton, Coach Hobby at the time, Coach Roberts, all the people that made the puzzle, fit. Coach Silverfield's plan for this program is nothing but success, and I see it. And Coach Roberts, one thing that they did say is they didn't come here to do a rebuild. They're ready to win right now, and we have all the pieces on this team to make that happen, and all the the coaches here that are going to make us very successful. I believe in the plan that Coach Silverfield has for us.
Hunter, Coach Cotton was talking about how he felt like over the course of the practices you guys have had so far, he's seen you take on that leadership role. Quincy's saying you're a leader. Was there a time that you kind of felt like now you were ready to step into that role? Like, how did that kind of develop for you over the course of coming into this new team?
I think it just, comes with being comfortable around the guys you're with, just coming in. I didn't want to just, assert myself into a place where I just got here, They have their leaders, everyone has their role. I wanted to, prove, get a chance to, prove myself, prove that I'm here to work hard just like the rest of you and, just show with my actions before my words. And then as we got into spring ball, I felt like, we all have to step up when the time comes. I feel like whenever, I feel like there's something that needs to be said or action that needs to be done, that's when I insert myself. But it just, took time, get comfortable with the guys, let them know that it's not coming from a place of, arrogance, but, just a place of, I care for you just like you care for me.